Hi, my name is Alexander Jones, and my topic for my digital connection project will be on housing segregation. I will talk about the redlining, the zoning laws, and the transportation infrastructure and the neighborhoods that were created in the effect of housing segregation. I will also talk about the comparison of black home ownership and white home ownership. Now, the one act that made it difficult for blacks to own as many homes as whites in the past was redlining. This was a racist act where lenders refused to lend to neighborhoods for housing based on race or ethnicity. Many black neighborhoods were refused grants to build houses. This is one of the reasons why blacks live in apartments and do not rent and own as many homes as whites. And the reason why there's not as much houses available. Redlining continues today by denying neighborhoods of color for housing. The neighborhoods that were created, such as the Fourth Ward District on Auburn Avenue, were created as black neighborhoods following the 1906 race riots. Blacks relocated to the Fourth Ward District with limited housing available. I drive through the Fourth Ward District and I still notice that there's not as much housing. There are a few apartments, but there's not a lot of housing in the Fourth Ward District. This is an example of the housing segregation. Now, the home ownership of blacks and whites is very crucial. According to the Association of Realtors, the home ownership, the black home ownership is at 44.7%, while white home ownership is at 72.4%. So blacks are trailing whites in home ownership. Now, to my knowledge, the zoning laws is what shaped a lot of our black and white neighborhoods. The zoning laws were used to segregate and put blacks in separate neighborhoods away from whites. The black neighborhoods didn't have as much housing available as white neighborhoods, and they were segregated, and blacks were not allowed to even enter into white neighborhoods and live in white neighborhoods. This is the reason why this is the reason why we have black neighborhoods and we have white neighborhoods. And the white neighborhoods have more housing than black neighborhoods. But black neighborhoods have more apartments. Whites own more homes because of the zoning laws. This was another act and another effect of the housing segregation. In my opinion, the transportation infrastructure was another weapon that kept blacks from owning as much homes as whites because there were barriers around neighborhoods that kept blacks from entering and moving into white neighborhoods. And there were not many roads giving blacks access to move into white neighborhoods so they can find and buy more houses to move into. And there were not many freeways connecting black and white neighborhoods, so they were segregated and blacks were kept out of white neighborhoods. Housing segregation also gave way to public housing. In other words, the projects. These were apartments that were in unlivable conditions and they were poorly constructed. Blacks were forced to live in these places like these, and they were not as nice as where whites lived. They had concrete slabs everywhere. They were poorly constructed. And children, there were not any places for the children to play. There were not as many homes available, so blacks were forced to live in neighborhoods, to live in places like these. In conclusion, blacks did not own as many homes as whites, and the housing segregation was a weapon that kept blacks from owning as many homes as whites. Thank you.